Hi there, today I'm going to show you that homemade bread is easier than you think. We're going to make this delicious white bread. It's soft, it's fluffy, it's not tough at all. The first wet ingredient that we need is milk. And we're going to crack that egg into a separate bowl like this. And look at this, it's doubled in size. Now when you punch down your dough, you want to do it gently. Also, if you enjoyed this video, then definitely give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. I post new recipes every single week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And you know it's done when it's nice and golden brown, and you can also just tap it and it should sound hollow. Now I baked mine for 30 minutes and I took it out, and I just couldn't resist cutting into it right away. But I waited a little bit longer, and then we enjoyed it with some delicious homemade soup. This was so good. It was so soft, it was so fluffy. It was just perfect. So we're going to take our kitchen towel and we're just going to remove it carefully. Now go ahead and bake this in the preheated oven at 375 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes. We're just going to roll it out to form a nice even log. This is perfect. You could put it in your oven if your oven is turned off. Just make sure the oven is turned off. And here's our beautiful loaf of bread. And if you don't have a 9x5 pan, you can just simply make it in a regular old loaf pan. It'll just be a little bit longer. I just like using the 9x5 pan because it makes it taller and it browns the top a little bit better. Now we're going to cover it back up and let it rise for another 30 minutes. You do want to put it in there if the oven is on, because the heat from the oven will cause the dough to rise too quickly and then it will be tough. But if your oven is turned off and it's just a nice warm spot, that will be perfect for your dough to rise. In this recipe, we do not have to knead the dough at all. In fact, this is called no-knead bread. No-knead bread is extremely easy to make. You do not have to be intimidated by it. You don't have to let it rest. You don't have to roll it out. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is just simply mix everything together and then let it rise. So we're going to give this a few more stirs until it's just evenly moistened. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be even. It just has to be somewhat moist. Look at this. This looks great. This is perfect. This is exactly what you want it to look like. This will come together beautifully. Make sure you crack your egg into a separate bowl before adding it to your wet ingredients. That way, if you have any shell in there, you can just simply take it out with a spoon and put it in the bowl. We add it to our wet ingredients, and we stir it just until it's combined. This recipe calls for 1 cup of milk, and we to warm up our milk just a little bit because we are adding yeast to this bread. And I do not want to add the yeast to the cold milk because the yeast will die and then your bread will not rise. So we going to warm up our milk just a little bit, and then we add in the yeast. Okay. Now we have our milk all warmed up, and we add in 2 teaspoons of yeast. This is instant yeast, so we do not have to wait for it to get foamy or proof it. We can just add it directly into our warm milk and then stir it until it's completely dissolved. Now we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter. Now the butter should be melted, and we just stir it until it's all combined. I am start by measuring out the ingredients because that's the most important part when it comes to baking. If you don't measure your ingredients properly, then your bread will not rise. It will be tough and just not taste good at all. For the second ingredient, we're going to need 1 teaspoon of salt. Salt really brings out the flavor in your bread. And now we're moving on to the third ingredient, which is sugar. Now, this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of sugar. Sugar really helps to brown the crust on your bread, and it also adds flavor. Okay, now that we have all of our dry ingredients measured out, we going to set them off to the side, and now we going to measure out our wet ingredients. And now we're going to move on to the last ingredient, which is 1 large egg. We pour our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients, and we give it a stir. Now we're going to cover it and let it rise for an hour and a half. Alright, so I set my timer for an hour and 5 minutes, and I check it every 15 minutes or so just to make sure it's rising properly. Now we roll it up, and we tuck it in just so it does unravel. While the bread is rising, you can go ahead and preheat your oven to 375 degrees. So I set my timer for 30 minutes, and while the bread is baking, let me know how your bread turned out in the comments below.